Paltrocast.
Rocky, such a pleasure to be connected and speaking with you again. Aside from having to speak to yours truly, good day for you so far?
Wonderful day. I'm actually at the Toonstar studios. We just finished some VO work on the brand new episode.
Yeah, Toonstar, when did they come on board? The reason I asked that is the first time I saw the trailer for your cartoon was as part of the Talkin' Shop of Mania cartoon. We had to wait to see the genius unleashed on the world.
Yeah. So, during the pandemic, we met with Toonstar for the first time. And we were kind of throwing, this was during the time where everybody was on lockdown and everybody's trying to figure out how to do projects from home, basically, because nobody was doing anything in person. And so it was right around the time that we finished Talkin' Shop of Mania, the first one. Mm-hmm. And so we started talking to Toonstar. We started, showing them like some of the stuff that we were doing and showed them Talkin' Shop of Mania. And they started, I think the first thing that they did was they took a piece of either the podcast that we have, Talkin' Shop or Talkin' Shop Mania, and they like animated it just to kind of like see how the characters would work. And we're all blown away, like, whoa, this is really, really amazing. So when Talkin' Shop 2 rolled around, we were like, can we do something animated and really explore this world? And that's kind of where it all started.
Sixth Wall, did they come on board as a result of Toonstar, or did they find you guys because they're wrestling fans over there at Sixth Wall?
So Sixth Wall came in a little bit later. Yeah. So as we kind of like grew the project and started to figure out the characters in the world, and we started putting little bite-sized pieces out into, on Instagram and on Twitter, somehow Sixth Wall got involved and saw that, and then just saw the potential of the project. Sure. So it fell right along with what they were already doing with the Stoner Cats project and that NFT. So, I mean, one of the cool things about, doing the animation style that Toonstar has versus, traditional animation is they're able to do it in at such a faster pace. And so like basically, they can turn around, let's just say, I think it's something like, somewhere between 5 and 7 minutes out in a week. We're compared. Wow. Yeah, we're compared to, traditional animation that would take months, to do. So, so they saw the, the technology that they had. They saw the Gimmicks project itself, and was like, oh, well, I think we can do, come on board, do it as an NFT project, and also kind of, add in, like some great, other things character wise and build off of what we've already made. So they've been an awesome partner. It's been awesome to work with them, man.
So this is going to be a compliment. There's no backhanded thing coming as a result of this. So for the career that you've had in wrestling, for most people, that would be the best possible thing because you've been able to work for a mix of companies at a high level. But in the last 5 to 10 years, we've seen you grow as a podcast co-host and producer, making music for that, acting as well. We don't need to talk about which shows per se and which commercials, but we've seen you find success as an actor. Now you have this cartoon that's in the NFT space. Obviously, NFTs were not a thing 10 years ago, but was the goal all along when you started in wrestling to have this multifaceted career like you do now?
No, not at all. Like I've always been fascinated with TV and movies, and that was kind of like, I would say, probably my first love before I started to take like wrestling as serious as I did later in my teens. But like I always wanted to be, to be honest, I always wanted to be like a director and an actor. Like I always thought that was something that, like, I don't know, just drew me in, the music stuff. I just kind of always like, was dabbled in music. I was like in choir and stuff when I was a kid, but I feel like I was more drawn to the film and TV stuff. So then when I fell in love with wrestling, I was like, oh, well, there you're doing, you're kind of doing TV and you're doing acting and you're doing, physical stuff, which, I already enjoyed as a, baseball player when I was a kid and stuff. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, I didn't expect it to kind of go that route because especially when you're young, I had all my eggs in one basket and that was wrestling. And as I got older in my 20s, then I started to realize that, oh, why don't I try all these things that I'm already into and I already love outside of wrestling? It's only going to make me a better wrestler. If I go to acting class or if I learn how to break down scripts or if I learn how to, whatever, watch a director's class or something, you know, like it's only going to make me better at what I make my living at, which is wrestling. So wrestling is always still going to be number one, but I definitely want to take the, you know, like what's cool about wrestling is like, there's all kinds of people who are fans. So you never know what kind of project you'll end up in, right. You know, just being a wrestler. So, so yeah, I feel like why not take advantage of all those opportunities, and the music stuff kind of goes along with it, you know, creating like, you know, entrance music and, you know, for people in different themes, obviously, you know, music that we've used in Talking Shop Mania and stuff like that. And even Talking Shop Mania has been like a super great experience because I finally got to be a director, you know, and we directed it so cinematically compared to what normal wrestling is kind of viewed at, you know. We did the pandemic stuff and we really took advantage of that, and you know, getting to work with my friends, you know, Anderson and Gallows, I mean, it's like a dream come true. So and just the opportunity just presented itself, so just taking advantage of that. And I don't know, I feel blessed, you know, being able to have so much fun doing it, really, you know.
As a director, I have to imagine that CGI Gallows is a high watermark for you creatively.
100%. That's it's like you know, Steven Spielberg, Rocky Romero, you know, do CGI Gallows, yeah, you know. Yeah.
But speaking to the success of your wrestling career in recent years, like this week we saw you on AEW Dark, and we've seen you in recent months in Impact and New Japan. So really, it's like cramming 10 years of wrestling in 6 months, the way that you've been around all these places. Is this the busiest you've ever been in your life, the pandemic era?
Yes. Yes. Like, you know, there was like a bit of that break when everybody was at home, right? And then after that, it just started snowballing so crazy. You know, we started New Japan Strong, and I've been a big part of that, and also like scouting talent and looking for people, you know, for the dojo and other things. So, and then that, you know, Talking Shop blew up, you know, the podcast itself, Talking Shop Mania. Then, you know, the Gimmicks came, and then, you know, wrestling was back, and then, you know, the Forbidden Door got opened, and then it was like AEW. Like, it's been such a crazy, you know, 2 years or so. It's been such a ride, and especially the last 8 months or so has been insane. It's been really, really wild. And I don't know, I'm glad that we kind of had that restart to kind of open all these doors and opportunities, because otherwise, like, if the Good Brothers didn't get fired, maybe certain things wouldn't happen. I mean, there's like a lot of things that kind of just snowballed, you know?
Yeah, you don't want to be that person that goes, well, COVID was good to me, but in your case, it panned out. And so a music question, because part of your ring attire is the gold eye patch. Does that come from being a fan of Slick Rick?
So that was where the idea came from. Yes, it's 100% where the idea came from. I was looking. So I mean, like, the funny thing is, like, D'Lo just asked me this when I was at Impact, and he was like, "Why do you know what's the deal with the eye patch? Why do you wear it?" And I was like, "Well, I wear it because I wanted to have a different type of merchandise, you know, than everybody else. Everybody was doing, this is the T-shirt era, right? Where everybody was selling T-shirts and baseball caps. I was like, nobody wants to buy, like, you've got so many, right? After you've got like 5 or 6, like, what else, you know? So I was thinking, like, oh, here's something that's unique. You could wear it. It's not a foam finger. It's not like, you know, like something that's fun, but it is something that's fun, but it's different. And so I came up with the idea, and then I was looking for inspiration. I started looking at eye patches, and I was like, oh, Slick Rick. And he had like the studded out, you know, gold eye patch that was really, really cool. So then I started to think, like, what if I design them a little different and customize them, you know, and do different ones for different people, almost like Rick Rude, you know, but like Rick Rude used to do the airbrush tights, and then like you'd have like the Ultimate Warrior's face or like Miss Elizabeth's face.
Cheryl.
Yeah, exactly. So so I was thinking, I was like, well, cool, I customize it, and I can have different ones, and, you know, like, you can have a little collection of eye patches. So so that's kind of where it all started. So no, I'm not going blind in my left eye. You know, my eyesight's all good, you know.
Well, I think that reinforces between that and the Roppongi Vice theme song. This is a hip hop guy that people don't necessarily peg as a hip hop guy in wrestling.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I've always been a fan of hip hop ever since you know, like, the turning point, I think, for me was like was like Snoop Dogg and Dre, like the original Chronic album. I think like the first time I heard that as like a young kid, I was like, oh my gosh, what is this hip hop music? And then like watching the videos and stuff, I was like, what is this world? You know, like, so I just been like a hip hop head ever since. But yeah, that's like really changed my life growing up in the West Coast in LA. So I mean, it's just a huge part of my youth and kind of where I'm at. And so yeah, to go back and look at and kind of throw these little homages, you know, at like somebody like Slick Rick with the eye patch or something, I think is just it's pretty cool to kind of build that history in your own personal life and kind of use it as like the fuel for, you know, your wrestling life or your, you know, in front of an audience type of thing.
So to kind of recap everything that I've learned right here, a lot of the success you've had is not accidental, but organic. You weren't necessarily shooting to be this wrestling guy who is also an entrepreneur producing content. So that's the first part. And the second part is you're into wrestling and hip hop and acting, a lot of different interests all over the place. A Renaissance man is kind of a term that gets thrown around too much, but you're really hard to pigeonhole. That's what I'm learning here.
100%. Yeah, I did an interview with Sports Illustrated, and they called me the Gerber multi-tool or something like that. So I feel like that's probably pretty right on. I'm definitely like a multi-tooled kind of person. But the cool thing though is, like I said, it kind of all goes back to wrestling. You know, it's like, why can't I make my own like entrance music? Like, look how, you know, like Shawn Michaels, how much it added to his character, and Double J, how much it added to their character, having their own unique entrance music with them performing it and stuff. So like, or I'm sorry, Double J didn't perform it, right? It was the Road Dogg. My bad.
Yeah. He was thinking it was a scandal. And now exactly. Bruce Pritchard performs it more than any of them, but.
Really? I didn't know that. That's amazing. But yeah, so like, I figured, you know, like it's so hard to, I feel like I came from the time and growing up where like your character was like such like a hokey, you know, you're the garbage man or you were like the hockey player or whatever, right? And I feel like that's so kind of like lame now, right? Like, so I feel like, you know, making your own characters, whatever you are, right? Whatever maybe your interest, your hobbies, what you do outside of the ring, obviously can all be combined and influence the character that you are, you know, on TV or whatever. So I just felt like, I don't know, that clicked one day. And then I was like, oh, well, I just let me be me and let me use all these tools that I have to like make my character, which is Rocky Romero. And that's how I'll be unique and different, you know?
So life got good in your 30s. That's what I'm hearing. Yeah.
I finally got a little smarter. all those bumps to the head worked out.
And then the last thing I want to ask you, long-term, might we see anything from your friend Chico the Luchador in the possible near future?
Well, you know, Chico being a part of the Gimmicks is obviously probably going to be the biggest thing that Chico does coming up. If we ever get around to Talking Shop of Mania 3, meaning if me and Gallows can convince Anderson to do Talking Shop of Mania 3, he's the holdup, everybody. I want to let you know. Then obviously he'll be featured there. I feel like Chico is probably in line for a title shot at this point. So you know, I'd love to see Chico in that world, which is also cool because like Chico in that world and Chico in the Gimmicks are two completely different Chicos. You know, like one is, you know, the Chico in Talking Shop of Mania is a real asshole, and like the one in the Gimmicks is like this family guy. You know, like he's the heart of like the group and the backbone, and like he never tries to hurt anybody. You know, so it's kind of cool to play two different sides of Chico, and you know, the live action version and the animated version now.
Well said. Well, I'm looking forward to whatever is next from you in whatever form it's coming, and can't thank you enough for your time, Rocky.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the time. Great being here.
Paltrocast.